Police have arrested a woman in the United Arab Emirates suspected of killing an American kindergarten teacher in the capital, Abu Dhabi. Authorities say that 47-year-old Ibolya Ryan, who used to teach school in Colorado, was killed because of the color of her.
It was the afternoon of December 1st, 2014. 37-year-old Ibolya Ryan, a kindergarten teacher and a mother of 3, had just finished her morning classes at the boutique mall on Reem Island, one of the safest and most modern areas in Abu Dhabi. She wasn't doing anything risky. She wasn't meeting anyone. She wasn't in any kind of danger. She simply walked into the women's restroom on the mall's upper floor and never walked out, because inside that bathroom was a person nobody had ever seen before. A silent figure dressed head to toe in a black niqab, gloves, and sunglasses. Someone who would later become known as the Reem Island Ghost. For the next several minutes, the mall stayed quiet. Shoppers came and went. Nothing looked out of place. But behind the restroom door, something was happening that no one outside could hear. The woman in the veil had brought a large kitchen knife, and the moment Ibolya stepped inside, the stranger followed her into the stall and locked the door behind them. No one saw what happened next. There were no witnesses, only the aftermath, only the sound of a door slamming, only the echo of someone leaving in silence. When mall security finally entered the restroom, Ibolya was lying on the floor in a pool of blood. The attacker was already gone, and what they didn't know yet was that the killer had left behind something far worse than a crime scene. They had left behind a bomb. Within hours, authorities released one of the most unsettling public CCTV clips ever shown in the UAE. It shows the attacker entering the mall, moving slowly, almost drifting, wearing the niqab disguise. At one point, the figure stops, looks around, then heads into the women's bathroom. They stay inside for nearly an hour, and when they finally emerge, they walk out calmly, without running or any hesitation, as if nothing had happened at all. Police would later describe this case as one of the most disturbing and unusually motivated murders they had ever seen in Abu Dhabi. Because the killer wasn't just a murderer, they were planning something much bigger, something designed to kill more than one person. Just a few hours after Ibolya's death, authorities found an explosive device placed outside the home of an American doctor, and the person who planted it was wearing the exact same outfit, carrying the exact same bag, and moving the exact same way as the restroom attacker. This wasn't random. This wasn't spontaneous. This was a coordinated, multi-stage attack. And the killer was not finished. When investigators analyzed the restroom scene, something immediately stood out. There was no shouting, no struggle outside the stall, nothing suggesting the two women ever even knew each other. The attack was fast, silent, targeted, and when police reviewed the CCTV footage again, a disturbing detail became impossible to ignore. The killer wasn't wandering the mall, she wasn't browsing or pretending to stop and shop. She wasn't choosing between victims. She walked directly to the restroom as if she knew what she exactly came to do. And the moment she left the scene, she walked out the same slow, unnerving way she entered. No panic, no fear, no reaction at all. To investigators, it was the behavior of someone who believed they were untouchable. But the truth was far worse. She was already planning her next attack. Almost at the exact moment mall security discovered Ibolya's body, police received another emergency call from across Abu Dhabi. A suspicious device had been found outside the home of an American physician. When bomb technicians arrived, their worst fears were confirmed. It was a fully functional improvised explosive device packed into a metal container with a crude timer and triggering mechanism. And when the investigators checked the CCTV footage from the neighborhood, the reality hit them hard. The person who planted the bomb was the exact same figure seen leaving the mall. This wasn't just a murder, it was a terrorist. This was a coordinated two-phase attack carried out by a woman who didn't care who she killed as long as someone died. For nearly 48 hours, the attacker's identity remained a mystery. Hundreds of officers were pulled into the investigation. Airports were locked down, but the killer made one mistake. On the security camera outside the American doctor's home, a single detail emerged. A white SUV, a talisman hanging from the mirror, a scratch running along the back bumper, a pattern on the wheels. These small details led investigators straight to Ala Badr Abdullah al-Hashimi, a 30-something Emirati woman, married, a mother of 3, no criminal history, no mental health record, nothing suggested violence. But the inside of her home told a different story. During the raid, officers found the black niqab seen in the CCTV, the murder weapon, the suitcase holding homemade explosive materials, and a handwritten note pledging loyalty to extremist propaganda groups. And the motive became painfully clear. She didn't know Ibolya Ryan. She simply chose a Western woman at random to send a message. Ibolya was just the very first person who walked into that restroom. According to court documents, she admitted that everything was planned. The disguise, the weapon, the timing, the bomb. Her goal was an escape. It wasn't money, it wasn't revenge, it was fear. She wanted the CCTV footage to spread. She wanted the internet to see it. She wanted people to talk about the faceless figure moving through the mall. And did she succeed? She definitely did. Because the moment authorities released the footage, it became one of the eeriest clips the region has ever released. The trial moved swiftly. The evidence was overwhelming. The disguise, the knife, the bomb, the CCTV timeline, and her own confession. Ala al-Hashimi was convicted of murder, attempted murder, and attempted terrorist bombing. She was sentenced to death, and in July 2015, she was executed by firing squad. The murder of Ibolya Ryan wasn't just a crime. It wasn't just terrorism. It was a moment caught on camera. A moment where a mother walked into a restroom and never walked out. A case where ordinary security footage became something far darker, something millions of people would watch years later in disbelief. And in the end, that single clip, a silent figure in a veil moving toward a bathroom door, spread far beyond the UAE, becoming one of the darkest corners of the internet.
9 years ago today, a North Texas mother was killed inside a Midlothian church, and to this day, no one's been arrested. On April 18, 2016, Missy Bevers showed up to Creekside Church just before 4:30 a.m. up there for a set up for a Camp Gladiator fitness class. Now,
It was 4 a.m., April 18th, 2016. 45-year-old Terry Missy Bevers, a mother of 3 and a fitness instructor, pulled into the parking lot of Creekside Church of Christ in Midlothian, Texas. It was raining. The wind was howling. Most of the town was asleep. Missy wasn't meeting anyone. She was just there to set up for an early morning Camp Gladiator fitness class, a routine she had done dozens of times. But what Missy didn't know was that someone else had already entered the church 20 minutes earlier. Someone dressed head to toe in police tactical gear, a vest, a helmet, gloves, knee pads, like an officer responding to a raid. But this was not a cop. Security footage would later reveal something deeply unsettling. The person was wandering the hallways alone, casually smashing windows, opening doors, and pacing the church as if waiting for someone. And that someone was Missy. The CCTV footage is some of the eeriest ever released in an American true crime case. In it, the figure walks down slowly through the dim hallways of the church, dragging their feet, shoulders slouched, not hurried, not scared, not even cautious. They don't move like a police officer, they move like someone pretending to be one. At one point, they open a door and just stare inside. No purpose, no clear motive. Just waiting. And then, minutes before Missy arrives, the figure disappears from camera view, moving towards the main auditorium. Missy unlocks the door at 4:16 a.m. She walks inside with her own workout equipment, and the cameras capture her for the last time. 20 minutes later, the building goes silent. Missy Bevers is found dead by her students at 5 a.m. The attacker has already gone by then. When police arrived, the scene immediately raised questions. There were signs of a struggle, but nothing stolen. No sexual assault, no forced entry, but the suspect had entered long before Missy arrived. The only clear detail: Missy was attacked with what investigators believed was a hammer or similar blunt weapon. Police began digging into Missy's personal life, because the crime didn't look random. Missy was happily married, a dedicated mother, active in her community. There was nothing suggesting she had enemies, but the investigators found something unusual. Missy had been receiving messages, strange, unwanted, borderline threatening, weeks before her death. Authorities never released these messages publicly, but confirmed they were creepy and unsettling. Then came the next twist. Her husband, Brandon Bevers, was instantly scrutinized, but he was away on a fishing trip with confirmed witnesses, so he was ruled out. Attention shifted to Missy's father-in-law, Randy Bevers. Online sleuths noticed his unusual walk, which some believed resembled the suspect, but police confirmed he was out of state, 700 miles away at the time. That was another dead end. Others questioned a former student, maybe a local rival, a stalker. Everything was considered, nothing stuck. Hundreds of tips, dozens of suspects, and every single one was eventually ruled out. After killing Missy, the suspect leaves the building. Never captured on an exterior camera, they vanish into the dark, walking into an early morning storm, leaving no trail, no footprint, no dropped weapon. Despite the tactical costume, despite appearing inexperienced on camera, the suspect managed to vanish with frightening precision. To this day, nobody knows how they left the scene and what became of them. The murder of Missy Bevers remains one of the most haunting unsolved cases ever caught on surveillance cameras. A woman arriving before dawn for a fitness class, a silent figure dressed in police tactical gear already inside the building, and a crime that left behind more questions than it answered. The footage shows only fragments. A strange walk, a staged break-in, a person calmly moving through a church as if rehearsing for something only they understood. No motive, no confirmed suspect, no explanation. Just a victim who showed up for her morning routine, and a killer who knew exactly when she would walk through the door. And years later, investigators, her family, and entire community are still left staring at the same silent hallway footage, hoping it will one day make sense, but it never has. It was the evening of June 5th, 2020. In lockdown-aware London, two sisters, Bibaa Henry, 46, and Nicole Smallman, 27, decided to celebrate Bibaa's birthday in a nearby park. They weren't looking for trouble. They were not meeting anyone suspicious. They were at a picnic. Friends, laughter, fairy lights, photos. Caught on CCTV, they walked into Friend Country Park in Wembley just after sunset, bags full of picnic items, smiling, dancing, and very much alive. For a moment, the night seemed ordinary, but that was spiraled into horror. The sisters leaving a convenience store, carrying bags and groceries. Them arriving at the park, laughing, hugging friends, playing with fairy lights, posing for pictures. Their friends gradually leaving as the group thinned. Bibaa and Nicole stayed behind. According to the phone data and phone photos recovered later, they danced alone under the night sky. At around 1:05 a.m., Nicole sent a text to her boyfriend. Quote, "We're good. Just dancing." End quote. The last photo from their phone was time-stamped at approximately 1:13 a.m. Two sisters laughing, lights glinting around them, unaware of what was about to come. Moments later, silence. Sometime before 12:30 a.m., the sisters were brutally attacked. Investigators later determined the perpetrator, Daniel Hussein, a 19-year-old stranger caught on CCTV leaving his father's home earlier that night. He had bought knives from a supermarket 3 days before the murder. According to the court, he carried with him a mask, gloves, and shovels, premeditated preparation for what he planned. The attack was savage. Bibaa was stabbed 8 times. Nicole was murdered after suffering 28 stab wounds. Then, even worse, the killer dragged their bodies into undergrowth, tried to hide all traces, threw everything away, including their phones, and destroyed their last photos. The sisters were gone. The park went silent. Their friends and family reported that missing as dawn broke. The police hesitated. Despite missing persons report, no immediate searches were launched. It was the sisters' loved ones who combed the park themselves, and only 36 hours later they did discover the bodies, hidden under bushes, a bloody knife, sunglasses, discarded phone, all found near the scene. Public outrage exploded, not just as the murders, but at what came after when two officers guarding the scene took selfies with the sisters' dead bodies and shared them with colleagues. The betrayal shook Britain. Officers were jailed for 33 months. CCTV, phone data, DNA, the discarded knife, and the public image of the victims all led to one man, Daniel Hussein. He confessed, not to theft, not to rage, but to twisted belief. He had written a pact with a demon called Lucifuge Rofakale, promising to murder 6 women every 6 months in exchange for lottery winnings and occult rewards. Bibaa Henry and Nicole Smallman were ordinary women, sisters, loved and alive, laughing on a quiet summer night as they walked into a park, expecting nothing more than a simple birthday celebration. Instead, they were hunted, killed by a stranger who treated murder as a ritual, dragged into darkness as their lives ended while the world slept. The man responsible confessed, was convicted and sentenced, but the horror remains in its place. We remember them not only for how they died, but for how they lived. For the laughter, the lights, the hope in their eyes. And we remember them because the world must never forget what was done that night. 2 lives ended, 2 families shattered, a cruelty so senseless, so evil, it seeks to erase their memory. But we won't let that happen.